we were in Belfast today.
Belfast.
You can't be slow there.
No, I went to Belfast to go to the Christmas market today.
And we were attacked by the roving gangs of Game of Thrones actors.
Roving around, getting burritos at Buja.
Devastating small businesses. It's terrible.
Hold on a second. Welcome to the Christmasing. It's day 10. Alright, go on.
Yes, we just watched Mickey's Christmas Carol.
After getting back to the Christmas markets.
And I just remember, whenever we started this one, I realized there's something I'd wanted to mention in the last one. I forgot, so I'm going to mention it now right out the way, even though it has nothing applicable to this version of Christmas Carol. But Ebenezer Scrooge, the character in the Dickens book, I'm not talking about his depiction in a film in particular, I think Dickens might have intended him to be, I don't want to say full-on Jewish, but probably from a family that converted to Christianity a generation or two earlier, sort of like Benjamin Disraeli, the British Prime Minister, because such thing was not uncommon in Victorian society.
Was it like a forced conversion, like in Spain? Like, no. Guess what, you're Christian now, or else?
I don't think so.
Well, that was that was like 2 centuries previous.
Yeah, I don't think it was like that, but it wasn't unheard of Jewish families to convert to Christianity after moving to
I guess that would make
the UK
sense.
for long enough.
That's why Nephew Fred is, quite enthusiastic about Christmas.
Yeah, so I'm just getting that out of the way.
But you looked it up online, so there is precedent. This is not some kind of wild, crazy fan.
Yeah, I looked it up. Ebenezer Scrooge, Jewish, and no one seemed to agree with me that he might have been from a conversion family, but most of them seem to think he may well have been intended to be full-on Jewish, or possibly a Jewish stereotype as a Christian. But at least I'm not crazy.
No, I mean, I'd never thought of that, quite honestly, so I don't know what to tell you. We saw Mickey's Christmas Carol, which is actually my very most favorite Christmas special. Because I just, Mickey Mouth's you wouldn't expect him to convey much pathos, but he really does. What? But, okay, because here's the thing. We've spent the last few times, the last 10 days watching stuff that's sometimes not very well animated. Because
each of these takes a day to make.
No, she's lying. It doesn't take a day. No, it doesn't. Because I have a job and everything now. But no, so this is real class, Disney animation. And this was made in 1983. So, it's a lot of it's still, cell animation and matte painting, but, it's really good quality. So the characters, they...
All day to make.
It does not. But they do the thing that Muppet Christmas Carol does, which is every single, extra in person is an actual person from, there was a lot of animals from Wind in the Willows, Robin Hood, Aristocats.
These must
have a lot of them were updated versions of some of the ones that were in, the really primitive ones, like the Steamboat Willie kind of things. And
yeah, I'm guessing... not being a Disney expert by any measure, I think those animated ones, the Wind Willows and all, and Robin, they were probably ones that had come out in the last 5 years, and so they were using characters.
No, Wind in the Willows was from the war.
Was it?
Yeah,
oh.
Because there's it's kind of, you can find this on YouTube. It's kind of haunting. There was a place during one of Mr. Toad's songs where the animator had drawn that last frame, got then joined up in the army, served in Europe, came back after the war, and continued on from that frame. I think that's kind of cool. It's pretty hard.
Okay, well, it completely defeated me there, because I figured they were using characters who were fresh in the imagination of
Robin
people.
Hood, I can't remember. I think Robin Hood came out in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay, well, that one fits, because,
Aristocats is older. Well, here's the thing, though, because Disney will sometimes reuse animation.
Yeah.
But I think, some of that was kind of true in this case, but just, characters filling in the gaps. Like the people coming around asking for alms are Ratty and Mole from Wind in the Willows, and Fezziwig is Mr. Toad. So, here's the thing. It's they had this extended universe.
Unless they're using what ones they have from the UK. That might be it. English characters, England characters. And they don't want any humans there, so they have no Peter Pan characters.
Well, obviously there's no humans because it's an animal city.
No, I'm saying that...
Wait, no, because Mickey and Donald are American.
Yeah, because they're the famous ones. They're the main characters, so they want all the other characters. Yes, the main characters.
But the giant from Mickey and the Beanstalk. He's not.
Because the ghost of Christmas Present is usually giant. So the
Yeah,
main
but
characters have been chosen for other reasons, but the extras.
Yeah, but there are ones in there from Aristocats, and that's American.
Okay,
I'm sure if we look hard enough, there'll be some of the characters from the Rescuers. Chip and Dale are American.
That's true.
They're only appear in one frame, or one scene, but
I'm sure there must be some rhyme or reason for why those particular films were chosen.
Because they had animal characters that were recognizable. Like, oh, these are Disney characters. They are part of the Disney family. It's kind of like, like you said, like, wait a minute, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are there. Won't they be older than Donald in the modern times?
Yeah, that was
I guess
weird.
this is assuming that everyone exists in this Victorian times and then will reincarnate in the modern era. Disney and reincarnation, you didn't think it would go here, but it did.
And then they all reincarnate again for Tailspin.
I liked Tailspin.
This is how Tailspin happened.
I used to watch
and DuckTales.
I used to watch Tailspin and DuckTales like after school every day.
That's how it happened. These Disney characters reincarnate after they die terribly in balloon accidents.
And like Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to watch Goof Troop. I used to watch a lot of the Disney afternoon shows.
But
This is why I didn't do well in school. I watched Batman the Animated Series. My little sister watched Power Rangers, but I had no.
There should be a commentary to explain exactly why they chose all of them, because I'm like, why?
Email someone at Disney? I mean, like, if you work at Disney, write the show. But so what is your opinion of it as a Christmas special? Does it get the job done? Do you feel all the warmer and all the more merrier?
I do not feel any jollier or merrier or anything like that, but a Christmas Carol, like a Shakespeare thing, it gets adapted a lot, and it is always fascinating to see what directions people take the storyline.
Well, they have gravediggers, but they don't have the people slagging off Scrooge after he's dead. They don't show Christmas at Fred's. The Ghost of Christmas Present doesn't. Ghost of Christmas Past, which is Jiminy Cricket, does not show Scrooge's childhood, which the Mr. Magoo and Muppet Christmas Carol do. I'm sure someone out there on YouTube or on a blog has done a very extensive review of every single visual adaptation of A Christmas Carol and their differences. Like when I was in my early 20s, and I was home on break from I sat down and I watched like 4 or 5 of them, and I actually took notes of what had the same and what had different. I think I had too much free time on my hands, but
I'd like to see a version of it done where they remove the Christmas element, where they just make it a story of making a horrible person good, even because the fact that it's magic Christmas, that's why it happens here, sort of thing. That's where it loses me, because I'm a Christmas hating.
And as the ghost of Arbor Day past.
Or just the past or whatever. It doesn't need to be a time of year thing. The bare bones of the story works perfectly well without the Christmas element.
Well, I think he wrote it, and the subtitle is A Ghost Story for Christmas.
Yeah, I know it was written for Christmas and it said at Christmas.
Specifically as to be horrifying. It's almost kind of like one of those old morality plays,
Yeah. Yeah, I just like to see a version of it, at least one version, where it's divorced from Christmas.
And here's the thing, is like,
it would work
the
just
traditional
as well.
Dickensian Christmas, I think I remember seeing that he wrote it in like 1842 or 1848, I can't remember, someone tweeted about it, on this day it was published. But the thing is that, like, the traditional like, British Dickensian Christmas, or English Dickensian Christmas, that was just getting started. Those traditions had been started within the past 10 years. What we think of as traditional Christmas ways in America and I would say in the UK as well. I can't speak for other countries.
If I remember correctly, the modern Christmas was begun whenever Prince Albert brought the tradition of the Christmas tree.
Who did not have a Prince Albert, so you stop that.
Who brought the tradition of the Christmas tree over to Victorian England.
Because he was one of the
He's from
Saxe-Coburg.
Yeah, he's German.
Yeah, the British monarchy has interbred with the Germans. This has been happening for a long time, so if you didn't know that, you know it now.
Current British monarchy interbred with the Greeks, because, Prince Philip's Greek.
No, he's not Greek. He's a like, how with we would say Greek American,
His family is Greek.
He's a racist English.
His family is.
Because he's racist, English, and Greek. See what I did there? That took a bit of setup. You see what I did there? He is an old racist, though. But look up a lot of things that he said. It's just kind of just like, holy crap. He's like 90
He's
years
a 90-plus year old royal born from extreme privilege and nobility. The fact that he's not more racist is the shocking thing.
Like, you told me some of the things, it's like, Jesus Christ! I tell you what, like...
He's basically, but, you know, to be fair, some of the lighter things he said is not that far removed from some of the stuff Joe Biden said.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Joe Biden. Everyone likes to slag him off because for some of the stuff that he says, they don't remember that, like, he had a stroke. And, like, a wee part of his brain is damaged. So he'll just say what he's thinking. And I think the White House actually plays up on that. Like, remember how he came out and said, oh, the president sure supports gay people, so he does. He really loves gay marriage. And then the president was like, oh, Joe doesn't speak for me. He's just, you know how Joe Biden is. But everyone's like, no, good on you, Obama, yeah. And he's like, well, we were gonna come out and say it anyway, but Joe said it first. Like, gonna kind of like test the waters. Like, that's just crazy Joe Biden. Oh, wait, people are happy with this? There you go. Now people are gonna get a war in our comments about, like, how can you support Obama because he used to not support gay marriage. As if people's opinions on things can't change.
Obama has supported gay marriage since the 1990s.
But one day he didn't, and then Hillary stole a cookie, and Jesus Christ!
No. Obama signed a letter in the mid-90s. No, I'm telling them.
Okay.
He signed a letter in the mid-90s supporting gay marriage years before it became a thing that anyone was fighting over. Maybe around the same time Hawaii made a push for a gay marriage. That was in the 90s.
I remember that when I was real little, and I was like, how can this be? How can a man marry a man?
So, I can't remember the exact timing, but in the 90s he signed this letter. This is before he had any political aspirations. And for some reason, this thing was ignored whenever in the years when he was claiming he was against gay marriage, which he clearly wasn't. He was lying. He's a politician.
But anyway...
What's more likely, a politician who is lying in what they see as the greater good, or a politician who was well in front of the curve on gay marriage, who then became regressive on it, and then finally caught up with it again?
No,
which is more likely?
I know.
What?
I just thought of something. Like, if you did a redo of A Christmas Carol, like a modern day, but removed the Christmas part, and somebody was like a horrible, like, GOP, terrible, I hate everyone.
I made the suggestion of a Donald Trump one.
Hold on. But then, at the third tension, when he, like, wakes up the next morning, and he looks up, and he realizes the spirits have done it all in one night, and he's still alive, and he has time to change, he can look up out of the window into the bright morning sky and say, thanks, Obama. Ding.
So one of the ghosts would be Obama?
No, it was just because, the whole thanks Obama thing has just become and really mean it. But yeah, so now I asked, like, what you thought.
Actually, honey, this might have already happened. This might explain what happened to Glenn Beck recently.
I know, maybe it did. Oh my God, Breitbart came to him in the night and said, for spreading fake news and conspiracy theories, I wear these chains in the afterlife.
Literally Andrew Breitbart.
Tonight you will be visited by 3 real news networks. Listen to them, do what they say, and you will escape the fate that I have brought.
Someone write this or do a poster for a film or something.
Our comments are gonna go mental. Okay, so I asked you what you thought about it as a Christmas special. So what do you think about it as an adaptation of a Christmas
It's a good adaptation. I mean, my favorite is the George C. Scott one.
Oh, that's true.
But
Tiny Tim is the best in this, and the Muppet when he's just like the wee little Kermit.
Because you know why George C. Scott is the best version of Scrooge?
I read your book.
Yes, he said, Dickens, you magnificent bastard, I read your book! Because, it's fucking Patton, so when he's playing angry Scrooge, hey, you hate
Does he at least put on an English accent?
Nope. Oh. So he's just like,
we live in an apartment building.
I'm fucking Patton!
Damn it, nephew, Fred, I ain't coming to your Christmas. I ain't gonna eat a suckling pig. Who eats goose? No one eats goose.
No one's ever won a war by going to a Christmas party with his nephew. You win a war by killing your nephew.
We're gonna get kicked out of our flat. Actually, I don't know if we mentioned this. We have goose to eat on Christmas. is because I went to Iceland, not the country, at the shop.
There's a shop called
It's a
Iceland.
grocery. They sell mostly frozen stuff, but they have like a lot of really cool stuff. Like I get ostrich steaks there, and if you're not into eating ostrich and kangaroo, you should be, because basically it tastes like beef, super lean. So basically like 0.5 grams of fat, and super full of protein. Cooks really quickly, and if you don't feel like eating beef but you want to eat beef. But yeah, so they had this thing that I just went in to get like cheese and turkey lunch meat, and I ended up buying a cake because it'll be good for Christmas. And so
this cake is great because
we'll show it in the last episode.
It's meant to be a robin redbreast, the traditional Christmas bird in the UK. Unfortunately, because of the proportions and the color of it, it looks like a poor blackface.
It does not.
A cake with blackface with a really surprised look.
It is not. I don't even know where you're going. We'll show you guys in the final episode. But yeah, so we are
going to be very unfortunate.
She was like, we need to roast a goose this Christmas because that's a thing in England. And I'm like, and you can buy them in Tesco. You can also buy a duck. But the thing is that it's so big, it would take up our whole freezer, and then it would take up our whole fridge to defrost, and it just was impractical. But I found a thing they sell at Iceland, also 15 pounds, and it is chicken and duck wrapped around sage and onion stuffing, wrapped by a thing of goose. So it's a turgoosen. No, it's a duck goose. And anyway, it looks fantastic on the box, so we have to defrost it for 2 whole days, but then we're going to roast it. It's going to be fucking amazing. So, not much to say about Mickey, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Except for his extreme pathos. Also, the 2 kids, like, I'm sure they have names in the actual book. It's been years since I've read it. Bob Cratchit's other 2 children, or 3, depending on which version you're watching, are never named. You kind of got a feel for them. They're like, we're in poverty too, even though we are not, like, dying of death like our brother.
Well, they're probably not called Tim.
No.
Unless Cratchit's like, one of Tim's going to die eventually. We just call them all Tim.
That's terrible.
Occasionally,
Bob
families
Cratchit
did that.
is a simple, humble, and loving man.
Occasionally, in history, families did name their children, at least several of their children, the same name, with the understanding several would die.
Yeah, that's true. And your kids just, like, died of, like, the dropsy, or, like, rickets fever, or, something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of things that people just died of. I used to call it, Victorian child lung disease. Because, like, every child in Victorian England was always pale and coughing pitifully and being sent to the seaside. That and scarlet fever.
Oh, you have to go to the seaside.
Like, I've read, like, The Velveteen Rabbit when I was little, and I was thinking of this because a customer came in my shop looking for it. And, like, I was scared shitless of this horrific disease, scarlet fever. And this was, like, in the early 80s. I had, like, no idea, like... Then I realized you've never heard of anyone that gets scarlet fever. Is it like one of the diseases that we wiped out?
No, it's not been wiped out.
Like the World Health Organization just like, be like, oh, stunner.
It's a lot less common now.
Like, have you ever known anyone who had scarlet fever?
Not that I know of. Although it's entirely possible that the name has changed since
So to
then.
something else, like really scientific?
Like consumption became...
tuberculosis. Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
If you had scarlet fever or know anyone who did, comment below. But yeah, so... One of those Christmas diseases like scarlet fever or cholera. Actually, cholera has nothing to do with Christmas. So, we only have 2 left, and they're 2 50-minute ones. Oh, no. What will be next?
She's making me watch
Think
double
of your
length
favorites. Now, obviously, after we fade to black, you'll see what's coming up next, but 11 Pipers Piping. It's almost time for Christmas. Ah! I thought you were going to kiss me! Oh no, our remote fell down. We love you, everyone. We'll see you next time.